Welcome back to Birds of a Feather. This is your Baltimore Sports Podcast. My name is Nathan Stroud, and today we are going to be talking about the Ravens' first round draft pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. It's here. It happened. The round one just ended about 30 minutes ago. The NFL Draft, one of my favorite days of the year in sports, and the Ravens had pick 14 in this year's draft, and they took Olaivavega Ioane, the guard out of Penn State, the guy who has been getting mocked to Baltimore in pretty much every single mock draft that you look at. This guy's a Raven. I mean, if you want to talk about like the most surefire selection to Baltimore, like besides Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders, this was probably the most common pick. And the Ravens stuck to their gut. They got Vega. I am over the moon excited right now. This wasn't unexpected. There's been Ravens selections in recent history where I'm like pretty like over the moon excited because I'm surprised by the pick. Like the last time that happened is actually the last time the Ravens were picking at number 14, and that's when we got Kyle Hamilton. Like I had no clue that year that we were even gonna select Kyle Hamilton, and we did, and I was going crazy because I thought it was an insane selection. I was so excited about that. The past couple of years, I've been pretty calm about the picks. We got Malachi Starks last year. He was one of our top guys. We got Nate Wiggins the year before. He was one of my top guys. But this year, Vega Ioane, he was in mocks everywhere to the Ravens. He was a perfect fit. Obviously, protecting Lamar Jackson and protecting the quarterback was the number one thing for the Ravens last year. It was protecting the quarterback and getting to the quarterback. And the Ravens just so happen to have the draft board fall to them in a perfect way. Because my top three players for the Ravens this year, like my top three players I wanted the Ravens to get at number 14, were all there at pick 14. Like none of them went before, and they actually all went back to back to back, which is really cool. My top three players going into this draft this year was Vega Ioane, Ruben Bain Jr., and Kenyon Sadiq. Those are my top three guys going into the draft. And Vega Ioane was like by far the most commonly mocked player. But again, you don't always know what's going on inside the boardroom. You don't always know what's going on inside, the NFL draft room with teams. So even though Vega was a very, very common pick to the Ravens, you still didn't fully know if he was going to go there. I was very confident in the Ravens getting him. If you follow my Birds of a Feather Twitter account, you guys saw me post this morning about happy Vega Ioane Day to all those who celebrate. Obviously, kind of predicting that Vega was going to be the pick. And the Ravens in recent history, as I talked about earlier, they've kind of gone with the most consensus pick to their name. They went with Zay Flowers when he was a commonly picked guy there. They went Nate Wiggins when he was a commonly picked guy. They went Malachi Starks last year, and then they go Vega Ioane this year. So the Ravens, it seems like they don't really swerve off into a different direction like some other teams do. I am going to cover the NFL draft and talk about some of my favorite picks from the draft just in general. Obviously, it's not necessarily Ravens related, but I do want to go over that because I love the NFL draft. And I do want to say really quickly, I apologize for not making a draft video beforehand, like a prediction video or a mock draft video. There was some stuff going on the past few days. I just was not available. But we're going to be covering today's NFL draft pick, obviously, in Vega Ioane. We're going to have some more picks tomorrow, and then obviously some more picks on Saturday. So we're going to cover and recap all of these Ravens picks. But today, they only had one pick, and it was an incredible one. And you could argue probably the most safe player in this draft. If you wanted to pick one player from this draft that would not be a bust, like would not be someone that's going to underperform, I would say a majority of people probably would pick Vega Ioane. He's an extremely safe pick. He's not some flashy receiver or tight end or edge rusher or whatever. He's a guard, and this is actually the highest the Ravens have ever drafted an interior offensive lineman in the history of the team. But you're getting someone who is probably the best guard prospect since Quentin Nelson. And he's one of the best guard prospects and interior offensive line prospects we've seen in quite a while. It just felt like it was meant to be. Like it was always Vega Ioane. Like this pick was always going to be Vega. I thought that there was a chance that if Ruben Bain fell to them, that they would take Ruben Bain. I actually thought internally when I was watching the draft, when I saw Ruben Bain Jr. fall to 14, I thought the Ravens were going to go Ruben Bain Jr. because I don't think that they expected him to be there. And I thought that the Ravens, usually, we've seen this throughout history, when a player that's not supposed to fall to Baltimore falls to them, they almost always take them. And I thought that's what was going to happen with Ruben Bain. Because, again, the Ravens really could not fail in this draft. They had my top two guys there, Vega Ioane and Ruben Bain Jr. Those were my top two guys I wanted. Ruben Bain fell to 14, which I thought wasn't even possible. I thought we would have had to trade it up for him. I thought it was very possible that a team before the Ravens was going to go Vega. I thought that the Giants could have gone him, but they went Maui Noah. I thought that the Dolphins were going to get Vega Ioane, but they ended up getting Caden Proctor. If the Dolphins ended up picking Vega, which I still, to be honest with you, don't understand why they didn't take him, then Ruben Bain would have been the pick 100%. But even Eric DeCosta said in a press conference after the draft just like 10 minutes ago, he said that it was a really hard decision between Vega and Ruben Bain. Like, it was a hard decision, obviously, but he really couldn't fail with it. Either you protect Lamar Jackson or you get someone to add to that defensive end group to get to the quarterback. And Vega Ioane really almost completes this offensive line room. The tackles in Rosengard and Stanley are fine. You sign John Simpson to play right guard, and you're going to slot Vega Ioane in, most likely in at left guard. He's going to be that starting left guard. We can get a big RIP to Emory Jones Jr. because I just do not think Emory Jones is going to have a role anymore. If you draft a guard at 14, he's not going to be competing for a starting spot. I'm sorry. And there's some Ravens fans that are upset about this because they wanted Bain. Like, there's some Ravens fans that like Vega, but they wanted Bain really badly, which I understand. But nobody should be upset at this pick. I mean, this was the guy for the Ravens. And I feel a little bit bad because, like, other teams will really swerve off into a different direction. Like, the Dolphins going Caden Proctor, that was one of the worst picks in the first round, in my opinion. The Rams going Ty Simpson, which was insane. So there's other teams that, swerved off into a completely different direction. The Ravens stood the course, stood their ground, and took their guy. And I'm sure Ruben Bain was very tempting to take, but they went out and got their guy. Like, this was their guy all along. They went out and got him. There's a lot of relief off my chest now because now, and I said this before, if the Ravens went offensive lineman in round 1, then you focus on pass catcher, receiver or tight end in day 2. And then if you went wide receiver or tight end in day 1, then you focus on offensive line in day 2. And luckily for the Ravens, we're going to go over this in a second, there are still a lot of pretty damn good receivers on the board. And we'll go over this in a second, but I think that wide receiver at pick 45 or just in round 2 has to be the play. I think it's possible that the Ravens move up from pick 45 to try and get someone. There's someone on the board named Denzel Boston, who you guys probably know. He is a Washington receiver. I would be over the moon excited if the Ravens were able to land him tomorrow. Most likely, he probably isn't going to fall to Baltimore. We do have pick 45 tomorrow, so technically we have the 13th pick tomorrow of the second round. So I'm hoping that the Ravens can get a receiver tomorrow. I think Eli Stowers, the tight end, is in play as well. Or if a player like TJ Parker or even a Jermod McCoy or Caden McDonald fall to you at 45, then you take one of those guys. If there's a really good player at another position than receiver or tight end available, then you take them. But more likely than not, there's going to be a receiver available that you can probably take. Chris Brazel, Chris Bell, Zachary Branch, again, Denzel Boston. There's a lot of really good receivers left on the board that I would love the Ravens to get at 45. But there's other guys like TJ Parker, maybe, Cade McDonald, Jermod McCoy, Cassius Howell. There's other players that I'd be okay with at 45. I just don't want the Ravens to veer off into a really weird direction tomorrow. I just hope that they just go out and get the guy that they want. And I'm hoping that the board can fall in the Ravens' favor tomorrow and they can still get a really, really good potential round 1 talent in round 2. So as I said, I was going to go over the NFL draft a little bit, talk about some of my favorite picks, talk about some of my winners and losers. Fernando Mendoza goes number 1. Obviously, everyone knows that. David Bailey, number 2. That was kind of, the thing that was going on heading into this pick. Jeremiah Love at 3. What I'm going to say about this, I love Jeremiah Love, the player. I think he's arguably the best player in this draft. And I love the player, but I hate the fit. I don't know what the Cardinals are doing taking him at number 3. They already have Tyler Algier on the roster. They already have Trey Benson. They already have James Conner. And then you add Jeremiah Love there. just don't really understand what they're doing. Yeah, I really don't. I don't know why they picked him. I mean, obviously it's not a bad pick because it's Jeremiah Love and he's a great player and they can, find a way to work it. But it just kind of, like, they have 4 solid running backs on their team. And Jeremiah Love is now, I think, the highest paid running back of all time due to his rookie contract. So just a very weird situation. Love the player, don't love the fit. Carnell Tate, I didn't like this pick at first, and then I thought about it, and just that Ohio State receiver, wide receiver 1, like, vibe for Tennessee just fits. I think Carnell Tate can be a really good wide receiver 1 for Cam Ward. And they also traded back up in this draft and got Keldrick Falk, which is a very solid defensive end. So I like that for them. Arvell Reese falling to the Giants is a steal, an absolute steal, arguably the best player in this draft to get at 5. Mansour Delane for the Chiefs, they traded up for him. Mansour Delane's a great player. I don't know why they traded up for him, but it's fine. Sonny Styles to the Commanders, I like that. Jordan Tyson to the Saints, I like that for them. Spencer Fano to the Browns. Spencer Fano is someone who is getting mocked to the Ravens quite a bit as well, but he actually ends up being the first offensive lineman off the board, which was pretty crazy. Francis Mauigoa to the Giants. This is where I thought the Giants were going to take Vega, but they went with Mauigoa, the tackle. They're going to play him at guard. The top 3 offensive linemen in this draft were Mauigoa, Fano, and Ioane, and they all have their own reasons to why they could be the best. And then Caleb Downs at number 11 to the Cowboys, an absolute steal. I think this is arguably one of the best picks in the first round. I think the Cowboys getting Caleb Downs is great for them. Caden Proctor to the Dolphins, one of my least favorite picks in this draft. I do not like Caden Proctor. I think that he has potential, but anytime that I see like a really tall offensive lineman, I just get flashbacks to Daniel Falele. So don't love this pick for the Dolphins. I was very happy that they did this, though, because I really wanted Vega, and I thought that they were going to take him there, but they went with Caden Proctor. So Vega ended up being the 4th offensive lineman off the board, which is really surprising because there was a chance that he could have been, the 2nd or maybe even 1st potentially. But Ty Simpson to the Rams was by far the most surprising pick of this draft. The Rams were 1 game away from the Super Bowl, and then they decided to draft a quarterback to learn behind Matthew Stafford. So, I'm not doubting Ty Simpson's potential. I think that Ty Simpson can be a great quarterback one day. I think that there's even a chance that he could be better than Fernando Mendoza. But for the Rams to take him at 13, not even trade back for him, first of all, they stood their ground, took him at 13, and I just feel like the Rams could have gotten a lot better now and competed for a Super Bowl now. This is extremely similar to the Jordan Love situation, which I just ended up working out for the Packers. Jordan Love is a solid quarterback, so this also kind of tells me that maybe Matthew Stafford's on his last year. We'll see. Who knows? Obviously, Olaivavega Ioane here at pick 14. He was the overall pick 15 on the NFL Draft ESPN rankings. Lots of great stuff. Extremely happy with this guy. Reuben Bain Jr. to the Buccaneers, steal for them. I think Ioane and Reuben Bain Jr. was going to go 14 and 15 no matter what, whether it was Bain to Baltimore, Ioane to Tampa Bay, or the opposite, which is what ended up happening. Kenyon Sadiq ended up going to the Jets, which in a very questionable pick. I like Kenyon Sadiq. He was obviously, him and Vega Ioane were like the 2 guys always talked about for the Ravens. And I like Kenyon Sadiq. I don't mind this pick for the Jets. They also ended up getting Omar Cooper Jr., which is one of my favorite receivers in this draft. So I like the Jets draft in general. Mekhi Lemon to the Eagles was crazy. The Steelers got cucked out of this pick, which is really funny to me. Some other picks that I liked. Chris Johnson, I hate this pick. But when you go and look at the best available players, some highlight players that I would like the Ravens to potentially get in round 2, whether that's at pick 45 or maybe trading up to maybe the high 30s or the low 40s. Jermod McCoy's here. He's an incredible player. He obviously tore his ACL in January of 2025, so it's been quite a while since he's done any sort of on-football activities. But, I mean, he should be healthy now. There's concerns, obviously, about his knee, but he is an extremely talented corner. So, Jamal McCoy is there. He's by far the best player available. You have Avion Terrell, who's another great corner who I'd like to maybe get. One of these 2 guys I'd be fine with. I know Ravens fans don't want corner, but if it's a really good player, I'm fine with it. Denzel Boston, this is my number 1 guy to get in round 2. My number 1 guy. Like, this is the guy I want the most in round 2, and if the Ravens can find any sort of way to get him, I will be extremely happy. Kane McDonald, I'd also really love. Zion Young, I'd really love. Cassius Howell, I'd love. These 2 edge rushers, Kane McDonald, D-tackle, Denzel Boston, wide receiver. Another player that I would really like probably would be TJ Parker from Clemson. I really like him a lot. I would have liked Emmanuel Prangon if we didn't already get Vega Ioane. This is who I would have wanted in day 2. Jacob Rodriguez, I would like. CJ Allen, I would like. Jeremy Bernard, I would have liked. Chris Bazzell, Zachariah Branch, Eli Stowers. There's a lot of players I'm okay with the Ravens getting at 45, so hopefully they can get one of those players. But again, thank you guys so much for tuning into and listening to this episode of Birds of a Feather. Again, haven't posted an episode here in a few days. Wanted to obviously go over and talk about the Ravens' first-round selection. It's Vega Ioane. It's a big deal. I'm so happy with this pick. And I would be honest if I wasn't. I am over the moon. This has been my number 1 choice for the Ravens for the past few months. They end up getting the guy that I wanted. Thank God. Operation Protect Lamar Jackson is officially in play. So you love to see that there. Again, I'm going to be back at it again tomorrow night covering all of the Ravens draft picks for tomorrow. We are scheduled and set, I'm pretty sure, to have 2 picks tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. We have pick 45, and we also, I'm pretty sure, have pick 80, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, pick 80. Pick 45 and pick 80 tomorrow. So obviously tomorrow's going to go up to pick 100. We are scheduled for 2 picks, 1 in the second round, 1 in the third round, 1 in the middle of the third round, and 1 at the end, pretty much in the middle of the second round. So we're going to go over those picks tomorrow. Hopefully they can land and nail both of those picks. Hoping for the best. Obviously the Ravens have had luck here in like the second and third round being able to land a great player. If you think back to last year, we ended up getting Mike Green in this spot. So we'll see what ends up happening this year. I'll see you guys tomorrow night covering round 2 and 3, or day 2 of the NFL draft. But again, Vega Ioane is a Raven. You love to see it. I'll see y'all later. Peace out.